What's good? Hi. So, I'm gonna go ahead and renege on something I said. In my last video that I posted on YouTube, I said that I'll be talking or speaking on my weight loss and the journey that I went through. The only thing bad about that is I tried to do that 2 nights ago. I had like 20 minutes of footage. But yeah, I said I would be speaking on my weight loss, and I tried to record, and I was getting choked up the whole time I was recording, which let me know I wasn't comfortable speaking about it yet. So we're gonna skip that for right now. I do promise to go to it to speak on that because it has been one of the biggest things that have happened in my life as far as how it impacted me and my mental, how others treat me, and it's an important conversation to have, but right now I'm not comfortable. Okay, sorry. But now I gotta figure out what I do want to talk about. I said, it's crazy because people still think I'm in Houston. I'm not. Some people might even think that I haven't even moved from North Carolina. So we're gonna talk about how I got here to New York, right? Back in 2019, I had started with a new company. Some people know who I work for. I do not want to speak on it because, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to speak on it. I'm just not going to say it. Some people know, some people don't. Whatever the case would be. I started with that company in 2019. I was at a physical location. Hope the music is not too loud. But I had started in August. And y'all know, 2019, then 2020 rolls around, the pandemic happens. So they sent us home to work from home. And I did not like that. I do not like work from home. I do not like being on the phone all day. I do feel like my personality works better in person as far as like the industry that I'm in. So I said, hey, is there any other options here? And, luckily there was another option, and they said we can relocate you. And we'll give you a list of places that you can pick from, where you would want to stay or where you would want to live at. And at the time, I don't know what was the hype about Houston, but I said, let's go there. And then I think I had picked California as well, which that would have not worked. And then I also think I selected Colorado. I ended up in Houston. They relocated me to Houston, or the Houston area, shall I say. And it was a good experience in Houston. I grew a lot of bonds there. I met a lot of great people. I grew as a person. It was a big jump. And, people were like, how can you do that all by yourself? And it's just like, it's kind of easy for me. I have friends that I've turned into family, but I'm not really necessarily attached to anything in North Carolina, right? And we all going on about our adult lives anyway, so it was kind of easy for me to leave. So yeah, now I'm in Houston, trying to grow there. I was in Houston, 4 to 5 years? I went through multiple locations in Houston, whether that was because I wanted to transfer to another location to be closer to where I stayed at. And also I got promoted while I was in Houston. And so then in 2024, I'm ready to get promoted again. It's about that time. So there was a position that came out that I wanted to take. It was only for a temporary role though. And it was for 3 months, but you had the potential of being in that permanent role at that location. So I landed it for 3 months. It was perfect. It was only 5 minutes away from the crib. 5 minutes away from the crib. I had the best crew ever. It was just a good vibe. I landed number 2 in the nation as far as numbers. So I just knew I was going to land it permanently. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Actually, not unfortunately, because things happen the way they're supposed to happen. But at the time, I took it very hard because I was like, I'm not just number 2 in the district. I'm not just number 2 in Texas. I'm number 2 out of every store or every location that you have in this company, right? So I didn't understand it at the time. I took it really hard. But after some other things transpire in my life, I was like, maybe it's just time for a different scene or a different location or a different state. And you know, that's that. So I started applying to different states, but in the Northeast. I knew I wanted to be closer to home, which is North Carolina, if you don't know. But 2 years prior to all this happening, I had went to New York for like a birthday gift to myself. And when I came here, I fell in love immediately, right? I love that, you know, it felt like when you go out in like the city, it seems like everybody is on a path to try to go get something bigger. It just feels like it's fast paced. You're trying to climb the ladder. You here to get money. It just felt like that, and I was like, maybe I need to be around that so I could like push myself to go to like achieve my dreams. Because it's also, you know, things happen here as far as like the music scene, fashion, whatever the case may be. You know, New York is a big deal when it comes to the United States. But I didn't know how I was going to get here, right? So when I'm applying, I'm like, you know, I can do New Jersey because it's right next to New York, or I can do New York. But the only position that was out at the time when I was looking was New Jersey. So I said, okay, bet. Let me do that. I did not get that. I was like, okay, what the heck? I do not want to be basically demoted back to what I was doing. Let's keep searching. So like a week later, a position opened up in New York, and I applied for it, and I landed the role. It was a great interview. I think I got a call the next day, right? And they said, hey, we want you. You got like 3 weeks to get here. And I said, bet, let's go. Nunu, let's get out of Texas. Our time is up. You know what I'm saying? It's too hot here for us. And again, I grew a lot of bonds, and I love the people that I met in Houston. But I knew it was my time to bounce. So again, I had 3 weeks to get here, find somewhere to stay. And luckily I do have a company that takes care of all the moving process. I really didn't have to lift a finger. Thank you. Except for just trying to find an apartment where I want to stay at. That's really about it. So yeah, I end up in New York, and you know, my apartment wasn't ready when I landed here. I had to spend like 2 to 3 nights in a hotel, and then my apartment was ready. Here's the kicker. So I get in my apartment the first day. First day I'm at my apartment. I'm like 10 to 15 minutes in, just embracing the moment. Yay, we here. You know, new life, all this good stuff. I'm about to go visit my location and meet the people there for the first time, but I'm just chilling for right now. Until one thing happens. I'm like, who is banging on my door like that? What is going on? You know what I'm saying? I open my door, it's this older black lady. The first thing she says to me, and she does it like this. She was like, hey, how are you? Is this loud? I said, I'm fine, how are you? What's going on? She was like, I live above you, and I just came out here because I feel like it's a bad energy. What? Sis, what? I said, a bad energy. I said, I literally just moved in. I don't know what you're talking about. And plus, like, I don't play those type of games. I'm covered by God. And I could just tell something was off, right? And she was like, yeah, I just wanted to come check because, like I said, I felt a bad energy. I was like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but I hope you have a good day. I closed my door. I immediately called my leasing office. I said, listen, I don't know what's going on, but my person that lives above me just came knocking on my door saying this craziness. Like, can y'all like do something about that? You know, this is a nice area. I'm not like, it's not a good experience on my first day being here for less than 30 minutes. You feel what I'm saying? It was like, oh no, we're so sorry. We'll call her to let her know like it's nothing like that. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. So I go on about my day. I go to buy an air mattress because my furniture is not going to arrive for like another week or so. I'm still waiting on my car to get shipped, so I had to I think I had to rent. I had rented a car while I was, without a car. So I got an air mattress. I got me some wine. Me and Nunu chilling. I don't even have a speaker or nothing in here. It's real quiet. I'm just watching videos on my phone. Whatever. It's time to go to bed. Next thing I notice, I start hearing on my ceiling. And I'm like, maybe I'm just tripping. But then it continues. And it gets louder and louder. And it's like continuous. And I'm like, I know this is not happening. Like, sis is not about to be doing this all night. So I call concierge downstairs. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get some sleep, bro. Like, can you let me upstairs? Never know. Whatever she's doing, like, it's affecting me and my rest. So they call her, but she doesn't answer. So they end up going to her apartment above me. Come to find out, he calls me back. He's like, she just slammed the door in my face. If you have to call the police, because again, this is like an annoying knocking sound, like continuously, like every other 5 minutes. I can tell it's being done on purpose at this point. He's like, if you have to call the cops, do what you have to do. I said, okay. I've never had to call the cops in my life, like ever. And I'm just like, what have I got myself into? And like, what is this, right? But it's becoming like annoying to where I can't get any sleep. I'm starting a new job tomorrow. Like I gotta get some rest. So I call the cops. They come like 20 minutes later. She stopped at this point, of course, right? And they're just like, if this starts again, here's a direct number you can call. We'll come out again, whatever the case may be. I'm like, okay. And then they leave. An hour later, I guess she wakes back up or whatever. I don't know if she felt, I don't know. But she starts the knocking again. I'm just like, I can't deal with this. So, that whole night I really couldn't get any sleep because like it's me and my dog. My dog is reacting to the sound too. Like she's not barking or anything, but I can tell it's like she's shaking and she's trying to figure out what's going on. So then I call my leasing office the next morning. I'm like, hey, I don't know what this is, but like y'all gotta figure out something because like obviously it feels like this lady has something against me. She feels like I'm a bad spirit or whatever the case may be, but just like, okay, we'll try to go up there and talk to her ourselves. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so they try that, but then the knocking continues for another week or so, another 2 weeks. And I'm just having to deal with it at this point and, keep like just reporting it. And so I guess, there comes a point where the leasing office is like, we got to do something. But they said that it was a sticky situation because, at this point we can tell something is like mentally wrong with the lady, right? And so they was like, listen, we can't do anything necessarily about her, but we can move you into a different apartment. This is where the blessing in disguise come in. Thank you so much. They're like, we can't cover the expenses of like you having to move your because at this point, like I said, it's 2 weeks later. My furniture is here now. My car's here. Whatever the case may be, and I'm so annoyed with everything because I can't get any rest at night. I'm like, whatever. I will take the different apartment, even if it's a different layout, whatever the case may be. How much is it gonna cost? And it was like, well, you know what? We'll get you into a higher floor. It'll be the same layout, but what I didn't know I was getting blessed with was when I had searched for my apartment, I wanted floor-to-ceiling windows. I thought I was getting blessed with that, but my apartment that I originally had didn't have that, but this one did. So thank you, neighbor from hell, because you got me into a nicer apartment, and I appreciate that. I didn't mean to do a story time. I thought this was supposed to be just about how I moved from North Carolina to Houston to New York, but yeah, I guess that fits in. But yeah, that's what happened. And now I've been here for a year. I am ready to move back home because New York is expensive. It's expensive. I feel like I spend $100 just walking out the door, right? But I will say I haven't really truly given New York a chance because I've been so caught up in my job. I really need to go outside. I really have to go outside. And I do plan on moving back home after this, probably within a year. I'm just going to be completely honest. I just got to find the opportunity, you know, of where I want to do as far as my career in North Carolina. But yeah, that's a little bit about how I got here and a little story time, I guess. But I only have 40 seconds left on my memory card, so I gotta end this now. I know that kind of felt rushed, but hopefully, you know, I said I was gonna stay consistent with the camera. I'm still figuring out what this is. I'm trying to get some ideas as far as the music thing, because that's really what I want to focus on. But yeah, I'm signing off. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, whatever it is for you. And thank you for stopping by. My name is Shalia. And yeah, y'all have a great day.